When NCF started to explore the issue of manufacturing, there were a number of reoccurring issues that drew our interest. First, the importance of having the policies we need in place to make success happen. And secondly, having the workforce and human capital to put it together.
We've got a great chance as a sector. Manufacturing is being talked about in a way that it hasn't been in decades. People care about it. Look at it as a crossroads. We can take a path that's pro-growth and pro-jobs, or we can take a path that's anti-growth and anti-jobs.
Our manufacturing output measured by the manufacturing component of industrial production expanded by 4.7% in 2011, and that was almost 3 times the 1.7% growth rate of the overall U.S. economy measured by real GDP. We've started to see a growing wave of reshoring of production and jobs back to the United States as rising wages and input costs overseas, along with high oil prices, long delivery times, issues of quality, and supply chain concerns have changed the math of manufacturing and have made U.S. factories increasingly cost competitive.
I think manufacturing looks as good as it does today is because the decline was so great. We lost more manufacturing jobs in the Great Recession from peak years to the end of the recession, and even 18 months after that, than we ever have before.
I've concluded that every rich nation and a number of developing nations either are or soon will be dealing with serious problems of human capital adequacy that are going to have great impacts on their economy.
I think you'll need to look below that label manufacturing and really look at how that affects different size companies, different types of companies, different industry sectors, where they're located in the U.S.
One of the reasons we are competitive is that we believe the workforce needs to evolve. And the workforce of yesterday is not the workforce of today and tomorrow. And by that I mean, we think about things in terms of traditional welders, machinists, and so forth. But when you look at our plants are starting up as what we call teaming environments, where the employees form teams and they operate the product. They manufacture the product, they do their own scheduling and things like that.
We got to really be on the front end of this whole supply chain of workforce development. So that's the kind of things that we had to do because we don't have a choice, besides having our own apprentice schools and things of that nature. But we had to get back into the elementary, middle schools, and high schools to change the perception, to change that mentality that we were all told 20 years ago, you better get your grades up, you're going to be working in the shipyard. We had to change that mentality, which goes on. And by bringing them into your factory is a big, big thing. It's a simple thing. It costs you nothing to do if you can start changing the way the American public views manufacturing in this country.
As we look at our requirements, we need 30,000 new people in the pipeline every year for the next 10 years just to replace boomer retirements. At our own company, 45% of our people are eligible for retirement over the next 15 years. Growing it's pretty good, but manufacturing exports in 1 month more than the agricultural sector exports in a year. So, it reemphasizes. We also perform 2/3 of all R&D in the country. My favorite definition of innovation is that magical thing that happens at the intersection of invention and commercialization.
I think we're losing this battle on convincing and making the arguments to our publics, probably better with kids than we are with teachers and higher education and others, about the opportunities, the relevance, the dynamism, the contribution that can be found in manufacturing.
Professional development for the consulars is very important, and I invite the consulars to come in and work over the summer and pay them a good wage so they can touch and feel, as well as inviting the students for tours and the teachers. But the administrators, they need to know what's going on. The consulars have not always been the best advocates for telling kids manufacturing is a good job for you to go into.
Now, I think all of you know that manufacturing is more than a job. It's more than a capability. It's at the very heart of our country's independence, our economic stability, our national security. Frankly, manufacturing fuels America's leadership around the globe. We're also tapping into the rich source of talent and leadership in hiring military veterans who are returning to civilian life. Currently, 16% of the employees at Boeing our veterans, some 25,000 people. We need to remember that manufacturing base is about America's position in the world. It's about the future of our country, our citizens, our ability to innovate, our ability to build.